Hey guys, this is Rachel from Blue Jane Creations, and I just wanted to come on and do a quick update slash card flip through kind of a video. I won't be showing you making me anything, but I'll kind of go over what I've been using and the cards I've been making kind of in the background. We are in the final stretch of closing out the school year, so it's been super busy with that, and I've picked up some extra work helping my boss get everything closed out. I won't be working the summer program, but I'm helping her get the year closed out, and then we'll roll into getting the stuff set up for the summer program. In any case, I don't want to bog you down on that. So I've been really hit or miss. Obviously, you may have noticed not a whole lot of videos going up while we get done with the school year. We got 2 days left and cannot wait. So at that point, hopefully, I'll be able to get back on something that resembles a schedule once we are completely done and wrapped up. But I was making some cards like kind of in the background. I tried to get a couple, 2, 3 videos up, I think, for my design team work that I do for Dawn at Shiny Silver Treasures. And there will be some more coming for her next release, but I don't want to get into that too much because that information will be coming later. So what I was doing was I was thinking of Father's Day. I don't know if abroad it's the same date as the 18th, but here in the States it's on June 18th, which is this weekend, coming weekend. And I was trying to use up a lot of the masculine stuff that I have. I have a big 12 by 12 pad of Tim Holtz paper and then a small 8 by 8. I have a bunch of vintage embellishments and the paper dolls. I was using a variety of sizes of his paper dolls to kind of stash bust because I've had these probably for, gosh, I want to say almost 4 years now, maybe longer. I'm not entirely sure. But they've been in here a good bit, so I wanted to dive in and do some stash busting with this as well while I was at it. So I made a lot of Father's Day slash vintage style cards in my quote unquote downtime. So literally, it was just working on some here, working on some there. I had taken these papers. Let me show you this before I get sidetracked. Ooh, gemstones. I didn't realize I was missing. Okay. This was the 8 by 8 paper pad. I don't have the cover anymore, but I think this paper pad has been discontinued. I don't know for sure, and I haven't had a chance to look it up. But the item number is TH94022. So if you might be able to find some that are on sale, like somebody's selling them if they're not still for sale in the main stores. This came out in 2020. I don't know if I got it in 2020, but probably not too long thereafter. So I wanted to use this up. And this was something I had picked up at a store. I think they're closed now, but in my area there was a store called Tuesday Morning, I think it is. And I got this 12 by 12 pad of Tim Holtz paper for $7.99 at the time. And it's just, I realized, I don't know, a couple craft room cleanings ago that I didn't really have a lot of masculine themed stuff. I mean, you got kids and I've got women's, I got tons of all of that. But I realized I really didn't have a lot of masculine, which is not necessarily a problem. But when I saw they had this for sale, I wanted to grab it. So it's got a really nice mix. You can kind of see I still have probably about half of this pad left, but I did use a good chunk of the papers just to kind of see what was left. I think I took most of them. I took one of each. I think you come with two of each page in here, and they're double-sided, as you see. So a lot of these I just grabbed one and left another one in here, depending on what I want to do. Going forward, I didn't want to quite use it all up at one time. So in any case, like I said, it was just trying to work on masculine slash vintage theme, do a little bit of stash busting, It was something just quick and easy to do when I had a few minutes working a little bit before work, or days that when I wasn't feeling good or whatever it was. It was something simple. I just set up more on the, I guess you would kind of call it minimal supplies, just bits and pieces that I had in my stash. I have a few of these. I broke these out into different sizes. I've got small, medium, and large in the paper dowels, and then I have some of the paper strips, where photo strips, and there's a newer pack where it looks like they're like actual photo size of images and stuff that I've used a little bit of. So anyway, like I said, I don't want to get too bogged down in the details. It's sort of a catch up. But even though these cards are done, I will do a flip through for some of them, explaining kind of what I was doing. Maybe you have issues where you kind of get stuck on how to do vintage or masculine themed cards and whatnot. And then at the end, I'll do a complete flip through. I won't be talking on that one. I won't be talking on that part, but I'll just go through and flip out all the cards. I think I did about 40 or so. I'm not entirely sure. It's been a while since I started this little side project. So in any case, so that's kind of what I've been up to, primarily working on closing out the school year. I'm not working this summer, if I didn't already say that. So I've got a lot of stuff that I need to get done, and I want to take advantage of the time over the summer. So there will be a lot more consistent content coming up, as well as filming ahead of time, just to kind of finally get a good stretch of time where I can sit down and make the videos, get them uploaded, get them scheduled for release through YouTube and all of that. I didn't have the ability to do that last year because I was working the vast majority of the summer. So it's hard to work there all day. Then you got to do house chores and blah, blah, blah. All that fun stuff we don't love. Like laundry and dishes and paying bills. It's exciting, said no one ever. So anyway, that's just a quick little update portion of it, showing you what I've been using. Again, trying to keep them simple, or not having a ton of different supplies in front of me. So I feel pretty good about that. It may not look like it in here, but I did make quite a big dent in the number of paper dowels that I had, and some of the miscellaneous vintage type stuff that I've been hanging on to. So, all right, I'm going to set this stuff aside. I think I covered the paper pads that I'm using. And again, I don't know if this or the 8x8 paper pads are still available. But you may be able to find them in a discount shop online, or somebody selling it Etsy somewhere. You might be able to grab a hold of it. So it was the Tim Holtz 12x12 and the Tim Holtz 8x8. Let me see if there's a number here. Yeah, here. The number for the 12x12 is TH93550. That's the number for this paper pad, and I believe I already said what the number was for the 8x8. Just a great collection of papers. I especially like that 8x8. I love all the colors in there, and I'm kind of sad that I don't know that it's still available. I'll poke around and see if I can get some more, but in the meantime, this is what I used for the background papers on these cards that you're about to see. And again, I'm not going to talk about all of them on camera, and then I'll just do the flip through at the end. So if I think of it, when I'm done just kind of going over some of the cards, I will put in the description, I'll try to find the timestamp or how to do the timestamp. If, for those of you that don't have a lot of time to watch a whole video, if you just want to flip ahead to the part where I'm flipping through the cards, sometimes just seeing the creators when they put them down, to show you what they've made, sometimes that's enough to spark ideas on your end. So, I'm fine if that's all you got time for, or all you're interested in is seeing the final product, because of course you can speed it up or slow it down depending on your viewing time. It's go for the gold, as they say. You do you. I don't mind. So, all right, let me set that aside. And I've got them broken just because it's a pretty large stack to try to hold in my hand. I've broken it up into little mini stacks of the cards that I've been working on, and all of the cards that I've used are the A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2 or something like that. Yeah, A2 is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 for the card bases. And I also used up a bunch of paper that I've had, the 8 by 8 or 8 1/2 by 11 sheets that I've been wanting to use up. So I dipped into what I have left of the craft cardstock, and it's a like a linen textured cardstock in like an ivory or cream color. Um, those are my two favorite go-tos for masculine. I don't know why. You don't have to. I think I say it in so many videos where I'm talking about what I'm doing. Anything I ever put up here is not a have to. It's just an idea, something to help spark you, maybe take you in another direction when you're feeling stuck or whatever. The sharing of ideas means something different to everybody. Everybody takes something different away from the ideas that are presented. So anyway, just a note about that. I can only tell you what I do, but I'm never ever going to say, well, this is how you have to do it. The only thing I would say is don't run with scissors and watch your fingers on your trimmers. Those are probably the only have to kind of things that I would recommend. So, but anyway, okay. All right. So for the first stack, I just brought in, I really have been playing around with making like collage style cards. And it's not something I do a lot. It's not something I feel entirely comfortable with right now, because it's new. Not that I didn't have fun, but it's still sort of a learning curve, which I think in the crafting process, you're always in some kind of a learning curve or other, which is what makes it so much fun. There's always something new to learn. So I was just playing around with little collage styles that I've seen people make. And then again, for the masculine theme, just coming in with a little bit of the gemstones because I have a ton and I wanted to use them up. And, everybody loves a little bit of bling. It shouldn't be too much of an affront to any masculine pride if I put a few little gemstones on here. So these are all blank inside. All the sentiments I have are on the outside. Or if I couldn't think of one, I kind of left them generic. So, if there's a recipient to the card or if somebody purchases the card, they can decide what they want it to be when they get it. So they have all the space on the inside to personalize it. And these backgrounds, the ones that have the really dark, colorful tones, these are from that, let me pull it back out. That 8x8 pad, what did I do with it? Just really, really rich colors, and I really like that. The rust and those, it's almost like a salvaged patina color. I like all that, and I was trying to pair stuff with it to kind of complement and work with the background tone. So that was a lot of the thought processes that I was going through. Was there's a whole lot going on. You're trying to figure out collage. You're trying to think about the more masculine themed, which are can be slightly different than feminine cards, of course, and the color palettes and stuff like that. It's a lot going on creatively in the mind. At least that's what it seems like for me. You got all these things you're trying to cover in the card, which I'm probably over discussing it, but that's kind of where my head goes. When I'm working and just doing straight shot of just whipping through projects or learning something new or anything like that is, it's just like all those mental questions. Well, what about this? And what about that color? And so on and so forth. So, So I feel like I did pretty good getting a good variety. Feel like I'm starting to get a handle of the collage medium and mixed media cards and just that whole vibe. I just love it. So so this one was a lot of fun. Very simple. Again, let's see, where was I? Color was the thing. Simple layouts, collage layouts. That's what I was kind of playing around with here. It sounds like a lot in talking about it, but I wasn't rushing, I wasn't pushing or anything like that when I was, making my way through the stack of cards. What I had done to start out is I had, cut down the card bases. Then what I did is I cut the papers all down to, I want to say 4 1/4. No, four. I think it was 4 by 5 1/4 is what I cut the background papers to, and then I just stuck them all onto the cards. I didn't want to think about it. I just wanted to cut down the panels, get them attached. Did all of those at one time, um, and then I came back in and then started working on adding in the elements, and some of them I put the sentiment on, and some I just kind of set it aside and figured I'd think about it when I was getting ready to attach them. So there's that one. Again, mixing up the patterns using the different paper dowels that are available. These two were actually attached. Their dresses were attached down here, and then her hand was attached to the girl's shoulder. So what I did is I separated them. I tucked her behind it so you didn't see the section where her hand is missing. It looks like it's behind her back. And then I set it up where this looks like the girl is sitting on the flower, and I lifted her up a little bit. I've really been getting a kick out of these honeybee stamps. They have the white foam strips that are super, super thin. And they're like barely there thin. So I have black and white. Thankfully, I had one right here because God knows if I'd have found it to show you what I mean. But these are really, really nice to work with if you don't want to add a lot of dimension. These are much flatter than the standard foam strips or foam squares that I use, which I don't think I have anything around my desk, so I'm not going to take the time to dig through it. But I like having the black and the white. I did use a ton of the black on here, just so you don't quite have a lot of that white poking out if you overshoot the mark. Keeping it black makes it less noticeable on the darker backgrounds, that kind of stuff. So if you have not tried using these yet, there might be other brands. This is the only one that I know of, so that's what I went with. But it's, again, honeybee stamps. They're the white foam strips in the 6x6 size. There's 2 sheets in each package. They're 1/4 inch wide, and they're 1/32, no, I don't even know, 1/32 of an inch tall. I'm not good in mathematical stuff, so I think you guys can see what I'm saying. So that's the dimensions for each of the strips. And even the ones on the side, some of them come out kind of thin. Like this strip here is like perfect. If you need a super skinny piece, then you have one kind of built in where it got cut off in the machine. So double bonus, triple bonus, whatever you want to call it. So these are really, really handy. I recommend finding some. If not Honeybee, there should be a comparable brand out there within your price point or wherever you're located around the globe. You should be able to find something comparable. So anyway, enough about that. So again, just really playing around with it, and because I was working with a vintage theme, anything that had the white border, I just came in and darkened it down. I don't know that this really picks up on the camera, but this was a much brighter white in the embellishments, and around all the paper dowels, I kind of went in and edged it just to keep from having this bright white in the middle of all this vintage tone. So, and then again, just going with simple, using different sizes. And then I just came in the other day and finished them off with the sentiments and some simple gemstones like this, or a little bit of a bling in some of the others. But again, just focusing on keeping it simple, more minimal supplies, not really rushing through any of this. This was probably been about a month's long project, I think, because that's really, with all the demented stuff going on with closing out the school year, didn't have too much time for a whole lot of other things. And the time I did have, I wanted to make sure I got some of my DT projects up for Dawn. So, and I had a lot of fun. And the one thing that I did notice, one tip I would give you, depending on what you're doing with the paper dolls, I wish I would have kept it in here, but sometimes you can see the image kind of gets cut off a little weird when it goes through their machine. And sometimes the little sections are still in there. There's this little spot. I don't know if I can get much closer that you can see it, but the side of this gal's face and part of more of her head was going to get chopped off. So what I've done is I would take the paper doll that had these cuts you're supposed to pop out to put space in between the images. I leave them in there so this lady has the full face, whereas she would have lost a good chunk of it had I popped that little thing out to make the detailing in the image. So I just put, let me see if I can find one. I have a feeling this is a tip that could be helpful to people that maybe have trouble with that, and I know they can't help it because everything runs through the machine. There's always going to be a weird cut. Yeah, here's a good one right here. Let's see. Was it this one or the one under? Yeah, this one will do. Okay, we'll take the two kids. Alright, let me just tuck this to the side. Space is limited on my desk right now. There's stuff here, there, and everywhere. I got a partial reorganizational stint done, but I had to abort it. And anyway, okay, sorry, side note for no apparent reason. Okay, so here you see on this one, there is the gap here. Let me see if I can get some better light. If I can come over here and still be... Yeah, okay, I think you can see it here where it's reflected. That little section right here, if you were to pop that out, you will lose a good chunk of the image. You'll lose her shoulder, part of her face, and part of his arm. So to keep from distorting more of the image, all I did was come in with, I left it in there, and then I came in with just a piece of the double-sided tape, and I added some to the back. This was way more than I need, but okay. I just kept it on the back to keep that piece from falling out until I could get it attached to the card. So let me just grab, oh, I had that guy. Oh, okay, well, let me see if I can find another piece of paper just to go, because I can still use it even if I stick it down. You never find anything when you need it. So in any case, so now that that's taped, we'll pretend I put glue all over this, and then when I stick it down on my card front now, I know you can see the line, but that looks a lot better than chunks of their bodies getting taken out if you pop that little bit out. So I'm okay with the lines showing where that section is, but the tape helps keep it stay in place until I'm ready to attach it to the card. So that is something that maybe could be helpful to you if you like using these, but the body parts can get so weird if you take that little bit out. So I take it out where I can get away with it, but for the most part, I've been leaving them in. So anyway, okay, sorry, little side tip, but it used to get pretty frustrating because, I felt compelled to take them out, and then I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, well, they look a little bit deformed now, so it's not quite the look I'm going for. Thankfully on this lady's face, it's not too awfully bad, but I don't know if this piece came out in shipping or if I accidentally popped it out by mistake, saw what it did to her little face there, and then ended up leaving that one in. I don't know now, but I think you can see the benefit of leaving it in. You get more of a complete image. So anyway, that's how I've been handling the little paper dolls and setting them up on the card fronts once I got the background laid out. And just trying to force myself to do different things is what I've also really wanted to push, because we get into that groove, we get our little safety zone where we feel comfortable doing this and this, and then we see that but we're too afraid to try it. So now I'm forcing myself to do that when I'm used to doing this and this. So again, just definitely having fun with the collage layouts and exploring more of the vintage. Now these I purposefully let be white, but I may come back in and grunge them up a little bit, but I didn't want to lose the little shine. I don't think these detract too much from the rest of the image. I just did not want to leave the white borders here bright white like that. So so just really simple, trying to put the background images that are logical to some of the paper dolls, like giving his hand something to rest on, with this embellishment, making sure their feet are grounded. That's another one I think I've had issues with in the past, that suddenly they're just kind of floating up in the air. Like if I'd have moved this guy where I was thinking like more in the middle, so it looks like he was standing in front of the bush, he would be floating. So I moved him down here into the corner where now it looks like he's standing on the edge. So, he's not lost in the background or anything like that. So, just the little detailing stuff, the little technical stuff that I've struggled with in the past. This kind of gave me the opportunity to sit down and work out some of the kinks and how to do the layouts, particularly in the collage setup. It's not something I've done a lot in the past. So now I feel a little bit better about it. So that was one little stack. I think I'll do one more and then I'll just get off the chatty part and then just do the flip through in case that's the part you guys want to see. Let's see, which one do I want to... Let me do this one. This one's a little bit bigger. I probably won't go through all of them, or at least not in terms of explanation, but just one more stack and then I'll do the total flip through and then we can be good. So this one was fun, and again, you see a little bit of everything going on here. Left the middle section in where it would have looked weird that parts of their arm were missing, and for me that would be extremely distracting. So I came in with a little more elements, but again, this is all stash busting items, from the gemstones, the flowers, and even the sentiments. I used a big variety of sentiments to try to use up some of the stuff that I had on hand, had on hand forever. At least some of these I've had for like over a year that I hadn't used yet. So, but again, I also wanted to keep it relevant. So now it looks like they're sitting, and then it looks like now her arm has something to rest on. So let me get up a little better. Sorry, I didn't realize I was so far off the camera. So again, you see arm is resting on something and it looks like they're sitting. So they're grounded. They don't look like they're floating in space, sitting on air or anything like that. And then these were kind of the afterthought just because they were fun, and then I added a little bit of the bling to like her necklace, like that, pretend that's a brooch. on her jacket or coat, and then just adding in the flowers, because why not? Because I love my flowers. So that's that one. You can kind of see all the elements. You get a little bit of the collage going on. You get some feminine elements added to the vintage, a little bling, as well as making sure that they're positioned. I don't know, I guess you could say they're positioned logically, if that makes sense. So there's that one. And then this one was fun. I couldn't really think of a sentiment, so I'm going to leave it off and leave it as like a general sentiment. But that was fun. Again, leaving in that little section. So part of the image wasn't out, cut out in a bad place. A big chunk of the flag would have been missing. So I just put the tape on the back, and Bob's your uncle put it up with a little bit of that thin foam tape to give it some very subtle dimension. And then I came in and finished it off with the gold, like half pearl or half gemstones, whatever you want to call it. And I didn't even feel the need to put a leaf with the flower. I figured it was close enough to the butterfly that I could get away with it. And maybe you agree, maybe not, but that's okay. Like I said, if this is sparking ideas in you of how you would do it differently, man, go for it. That is the name of the game with crafting. You do you, and a ton of people on YouTube say it. I say it, and it's all good. So here's another one with doing a collage and positioning combo. So here it looks like he's propping that up. His hand has somewhere to rest on. And I did bring in a little bit of snark. This is probably one of my favorite Tim Holtz snark chats, or snark, or whatever it's called. Absolutely hilarious. And I like that. I'm not childish. You're just a big duty head. Because we have many days where we say that. But anyway, so again, it looks like there's a lot going on because you're kind of doing that collage vibe, but at the same time, it's also very simple. Again, not a lot of supplies, or not a huge variety of supplies, and a lot of it was just stash busting. Let me flip through a couple more. Trying to come up with like distressing the backgrounds. This wasn't colored in like that. I just came in to make it look aged, and cut off the corner of it, roughed it all up along the edges with my scissors. Got some flowers that I thought would complement without overshadowing. You can still see the really nice image from the large paper dolls. And again, trying to keep the colors complementary to, but not matchy-matchy with that background paper. And had a lot of fun. I came in, I only had to put a little bit of foam strips like to support the guy's head and along the side and down near the foot that was coming off of this background element. And then she's flat, but yet with the way the dark looks with this background piece, she looks dimensional. She looks way more dimensional than what she is with that contrast, which I like it. So everything looks level. And just learning how to do those little subtle optical illusions in the card imaging and the backgrounds and the elements that you're using. So it sounds like more thought went into it than maybe what actually did, but I'm good at making word salads. And then for this last one, I'll exhibit. This was one of the earlier ones. He's kind of floating out here, but not quite. I gave him this image to ground his hand on. So he's standing here. And this was one of the ones I did for the Father's Day, and then just came in with a few of the gemstones that I thought complemented it. They have kind of a goldish holographic hue to it, depending on which way you angle it. So it complements the background, but again, doesn't overshadow. And the background doesn't overshadow. You don't lose the guy in the middle. even though he's standing next to the colorful bird. Like, this is the first thing my eye goes to when I laid it out. And this was, yeah, like I said, this was one of the first ones that I did when I started this, and he's still the first thing that my eye goes to, even though it's been a while since this card was pretty much done. So anyway, so that was just some of the fun stuff, a little bit of the background, a little bit of a technique video. I know this was a little bit longer than what I normally do, but some of this will be edited out and cleaned up, so I should be able to shave off some time here. And then I will just be back hopefully on a normal schedule. We got 2 days left. There might be a few things I need to finish off, but for the most part, we have made it to summer break, y'all. Man, I think the staff and the kids, we are all ready. That for as quickly as it seems that summer came, it also felt simultaneously like it took forever. So we're just so grateful to be here. And 2 days, 2 more days, and it's going to be golden. So with that, I'm going to stop this part and get the cards in order next to me, and then I'll begin the flip through, and then I will also find the timestamp. I don't know if you have to do it manually. I've never done it, so that's something new I'm about to learn. And I'll put the timestamp in here if you just want to jump ahead to where I'm showing you the cards that I made. And again, that part will be a little minute, because I think I made, it has to be around 40, give or take, pretty sure. So, all right, in the meantime, thank you guys so much if you've hung in there with me, getting through all this crazy cuckoo, and take care, stay safe as always. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next video.
Forget our fear of what comes after. We'll hold on for better days. Let our past begin to shatter. Days like these, we can see the way to live out a new chapter. Coming our way as we move closer to what matters. Times like these, they come and go, so let this feeling grow. Finally see what we've always known.